Andrade El Idolo called out AEW last night during the Full Gear pay-per-view. I'm going to show you exactly what he said, and we're going to talk about what this could mean, not just for Andrade's future, but of course the future of AEW, and highlight one of the main problems with the company, that being with such a massive roster, you're going to wind up with people who feel underutilized. I'm Omer Q for Real Take Wrestling. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Okay, so last night, AEW Full Gear ended up being what many thought was a fantastic pay-per-view show. It had blood, it had story, and it had a lot of great wrestling. One thing it did not have that Andrade El Idolo pointed out on Twitter was Andrade El Idolo. Here's what he said in a tweet just last night, saying, quote, 2.5 years and 2 pay-per-views, but today is a great pay-per-view. You can't miss it. I love wrestling, with the hashtags anti-pay-per-view, not single match, and AEW Full Gear. And he also included the match graphics for the matches that he did have on pay-per-view, both of them being tag matches, and both of them being really, if we're being honest, inconsequential to the overall show. While Andrade is a massive talent, and I think that he has proven, not just during his time in AEW, but of course his time in WWE as NXT champion, before that his time in Mexico, he's someone who has the ability and the in-ring prowess to be a great star. I think the issue here with AEW, and he pointed it out, was he doesn't get utilized as one, and he has not been utilized as one. Ever since he came in, I think the one thing we were all kind of hoping that Andrade would do was recapture the magic that he had in NXT when he was having just banger match after banger match. I think, who was it? It was himself and Johnny Gargano, I believe it was, had like a fantastic match. When he was NXT champion and he was doing his Andrade, his Andrade shtick there, it was great. I just feel like Andrade Cien almost is what I was thinking. But I just feel like ever since he came to AEW, right? Like, he came in with such fanfare. He came in as this major free agency signing, which he was, and he's a major talent. What happened along the way was he got, I don't want to use the term buried because it's not the correct usage of the term, but he was lost, for lack of a better term, under all of the other talent that AEW had. And this was, remember, during a time where they were just getting Rampage off the ground. Collision just started this year, and they made a cognizant effort to try to make sure that Andrade El Idolo was, featured prominently on that show. And they've done a decent job at that, right? At the same time, look back at the past few months. While they've been building him up to be bigger and better and highlighting him more, you have multiple pay-per-views. You've had monthly pay-per-views ever since, May. And we're just not seeing him. Like, Wembley, okay, he's not on the Wembley card, but you couldn't find room for him at the All Out card. You couldn't find room for him on Wrestle Dream. You couldn't find room for him here. It begs the question, how much, not how much are they invested? I'm sure that AEW is invested, but it doesn't seem like they're invested to the point where they feel like they need to have him in a major program on a pay-per-view yet. Could that change? Sure. I mean, obviously with this stuff with Lana and Andrade, they are trying to build up to some sort of match with Miro, whether it's at Winter is Coming or whether it's at World's End. I would like to see it at World's End and have this story kind of not drag out, but I have a story be told with Andrade. Because the one piece of storytelling that they did do with Andrade, like good piece of storytelling they have done with Andrade, was this ladder match and feud that he had with the House of Black. I thought that both from the perspective of the House of Black and Andrade, it's the best work they've done in AEW. Because for the House of Black, this was one of those things where they had a purpose for their rambling and their promos. They had a purpose to show Andrade that he doesn't need the mask to be successful. To show Andrade he doesn't need to hide who he is. That was the purpose that they had. That's why they stole the mask. And then Andrade is taking the mask back for pride, for his family, for his culture. Like that. It was a nice story that was told, and it crescendoed into an awesome ladder match. And I'm sitting here like, you could have had that on pay-per-view, and it would have been amazing. And you would have put people in a position to try to pay for it. It would have been a draw. I think that match would have been a draw. And had it even not been, had people just been like, oh, I'm sure it's going to be a great match, they would have walked away being like, man, that match stole the show. But yet, we're here. And of course, like, it's not lost on me. This could be part of a story where, you know, potentially, like, he's like, you know, oh, now me and CJ are going to get me back on track type of deal. But I don't think, look, there's been too much smoke with Andrade as far as unhappiness. Like, we know that, you know, it was reported that he, like, would deliberately get into arguments backstage, or at least one prominent argument with Sammy Guevara, trying to get fired. I mean, I think Dave Meltzer was the one who said that, right? Meltzer was the one who said that, oh, yeah, you know, Andrade's trying to get fired. And he, like, it's a weird thing. And especially now that Ric Flair is in AEW, I'm not sure where his feelings on that are. Of course, one big thing is Charlotte is in WWE. He is married to Charlotte. And one thing that, you know, I mean, obviously, like, being in separate wrestling companies has not kept people apart. But I think generally people like to be around their loved ones in these situations. But we'll see what happens. But one thing's for sure, Andrade did not seem happy in that X post. I want to hear from you guys, though. What do you guys think about this whole situation? Could they be using Andrade better? Is he right? Does he have a gripe? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Until next time, keep it real.